Alright, let's dive into this, because it's a story that's got me thinking about the complexities of friendships, especially in the spotlight. So, Craig Conover and Kyle Cooke, two names you might recognize from the Bravo universe, have apparently patched things up. But here's the thing, it's not just a simple "we're cool now" kind of story. There's a lot more to unpack here, and personally, I think it's a fascinating look at how relationships evolve, especially when they're played out in public. First off, what makes this really interesting is the way Craig framed their reconciliation. On the Good Guys podcast, he talked about how Kyle challenged his entire concept of forgiveness. Craig admitted he used to think forgiveness was only for people who deserved it, which, let's be honest, is a mindset a lot of us can relate to. But Kyle, someone Craig thought he'd never speak to again, became the catalyst for him to rethink that. This raises a deeper question. How often do we write people off because we think their actions are unforgivable? And what does it take to change that perspective? In my opinion, the turning point here wasn't just a heartfelt conversation, though those are important. It was Kyle showing up at Craig's store, sewing down south, and interacting with fans. Craig mentioned seeing the reaction of the people who support them, and that's huge. It's like, when you see someone making an effort in a public space, it's hard to ignore. It's not just about the two of them, it's about the community they're a part of. What this really suggests is that sometimes, rebuilding a relationship isn't just about the two people involved, it's about the environment and the people around them. Now, let's talk about Kyle's Instagram post. He shared a photo with Craig and Austen Kroll during a trip to South Carolina, and the caption was just chef's kiss. By the way, so what, with a shrugging emoji? That's peak Kyle humor, but it's also a subtle way of saying, we're good and we're moving on. What many people don't realize is how much these little public gestures matter. It's not just about the photo, it's about the message it sends. It's like, hey, we've put the past behind us and we're choosing to focus on the positive. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Kyle's been hanging out with Austen and Sally Carson too. There's this whole web of relationships within the Bravo universe, and it's fascinating to see how these connections overlap. If you take a step back and think about it, these aren't just friendships, they're alliances, business partnerships, and sometimes even rivalries. So when Kyle and Craig mend their relationship, it's not just a personal win, it's a shift in the dynamics of this entire social circle. One thing that immediately stands out is how Craig's perspective on forgiveness has evolved. He said, "Life's too short, and I think that's a lesson we could all take to heart. Holding on to grudges, especially in a public-facing career, can be exhausting." But what's really impressive is how he's using this experience to rethink how he approaches other relationships. It's like this one reconciliation has opened the door for him to be more open and forgiving in general. From my perspective, this story isn't just about Craig and Kyle. It's about the bigger picture of how we handle conflict and forgiveness in our own lives. Are we willing to give people second chances? Do we let go of grudges when someone makes a genuine effort? And how much does the opinion of the people around us influence our decisions? These are the questions this story leaves me with. So, here's my closing thought. Reconciliation is messy, complicated, and rarely straightforward. But when it happens, it can be incredibly powerful. Craig and Kyle's story is a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected people can teach us the biggest lessons. And maybe, just maybe, we should all be a little more open to sewing up the rifts in our own lives. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.